A strange creature with a body covered in moss or fungus, with pale, long, white, and messy hair, wandering around with her arms spread, and having extraordinarily long tongues and black, pointed fingernails. What does this remind you of? You're right. Today we'll be talking about zombies, who have become one of pop culture's most popular characters in movies, television shows, and cartoons. Zombies are the classic example of history repeating itself, where many television series have attempted to create frightening and fascinating zombie plots. A popular television show, The Walking Dead, is one such example, but long before the series became popular, zombies may be seen imprinted in paintings of Chinese culture. And one such popular zombie in Chinese mythology is Jiang Shi, a kind of zombie or vampire from China that hops around and drains you of your life force. However, don't be scared. It's commonly believed that if you place a piece of paper with a spell inscribed on it on the zombie's forehead, it will stop and you will be saved. And don't thank us already for this brilliant zombie defeating trick, because we got the story of Jiang Shi covered in detail for you right in this video. But before we begin, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so you may be notified of future uploads. Now, without wasting another moment, let's get started. For centuries, common creatures like ghosts, vampires, werewolves, and zombies have been in the human imagination. While Jiang Shi is not a popular figure in the West, he is well known in China, Taiwan, Japan, and other Asian countries. But who is Jiang Shi, and how does he fit into Chinese mythology? So, Jiang Shi is a Chinese vampire or zombie whose name translates to stiff corpse. It's a horrifying creature that normally hops along, sucking the life energy from any victims it comes across. There are undead humans who have spent thousands of years hunting, feeding on, and infecting the living. Unlike other zombies, they don't walk, stumble, or stagger. Instead, they hop. Although a hopping zombie may appear to be comical, Jiang Shis are scary hoppers, who would emerge in front of you or behind you at any time and surprise you. On a lighter note, if you actually hate surprises, you'd hate to meet a Jiang Shi. However, these beings aren't the outcome of ancient bad forces, which is surprising. Rather, the people who fear them were the ones who invented them. Their story begins more than 2,000 years ago before China was unified. So, it all began in 1790 with the establishment of the largest Chinese dynasty, the Qin dynasty, and Qin Shi Huang, China's first emperor. When Jiang Shi was born, the emperor was still in the process of conquering the Chinese state, and hence, you see, they were once living, breathing, thinking humans. It's possible that these hopping vampires would not have existed if Qin Shi Huang hadn't fought this unification war. Warriors sent to protect state borders and fend off Qin Shi Huang's army frequently traveled long distances, and during the conflict, several of them died. Their families couldn't afford to have their remains returned to them, which was a major source of stress for them. Efforts were undertaken during the Qing dynasty to return the bodies of these Chinese workers who perished far away from home to their birthplace. There appeared to have been people called corpse drivers, who specialized in this profession and were in charge of transporting the bodies back to their ancestral places. In another version of this myth, the common people flocked to Taoist priests in search of closure, and possibly the body of a lost loved one. These priests would undertake a sacred ceremony in order to touch the deceased's body and soul. They then offered the deceased person a set of instructions that would enable them to come home. They encouraged the deceased to hop their way back to their loved ones because of rigor mortis, which caused the bodies of the deceased to become stiff and inflexible. Because it was considered bad luck for a living person to see a dead body. However, how could so many people come to believe that the dead bodies were moving? There are two different explanations for it, based on the myth you agree upon. The first one is that one of the corpse drivers carried the bodies on their back and covered it with a cloak as they traveled. The cloak covered the corpse driver and the body appeared to walk on its own. The other is that the priest would tie the deceased upright to bamboo poles. With the poles on their shoulders, one guy stood in front and the other in the back. The bamboo poles flexed as they walked, and the corpses rocked up and down with the movement of the bamboo. From a distance, the bodies appeared to be hopping around with their arms outstretched. It was also believed that the Taoist priests utilized their magical abilities to guide and control the Jiang Shi to move when and where they chose. Now that you know how and why these hopping vampires were created, could you spot one if you saw one? Most likely you wouldn't, because you're not aware of their appearance. So, let's look into it. Jiang Shi's appearance has been described in a variety of ways. A peculiar glowing green mold appeared to cover the whole body of Jiang Shi, allowing them to glow somewhat. It had a long tongue, large protruding eyes, and a flashy costume according to certain legends. It was noted for wearing outfits from the Qing dynasty and was frequently seen wearing a Qing dynasty uniform, a dark coat or robe, and a round cap. Some seem to be in good condition, while others look decayed. Like a shark, they have a mouth full of sharp, serrated teeth. Some said that they have thick, long fingernails that are impossible to break or split. It is said to emerge only at night and would steal the qi, or life force, of living victims in order to survive and grow more powerful. And this is how its victim would get killed. In one of these stories, Jiang Shi vomits on 3 individuals and kills them. This is not only disgusting, but it could also be a misunderstood story of an old illness that spreads by contact with body fluids. But thankfully, there are ways in which human beings could survive an encounter with Jiang Shi. To get away from Jiang Shi's grasp, people could, for example, drop a bag of solid gold coins on the floor. The hopping vampires would stop moving and count the shiny coins that have scattered across the ground. That is, however, an expensive option. A simpler and more efficient option was to hold a Taoist sign near his forehead. The Jiang Shi will be unable to hop away as long as the symbol was held against the head. And the list does not end here. There appears to be a number of other ways to defeat a Jiang Shi. Showing it a mirror can also help, because it is believed to be afraid of its own reflection. But our suggestion and the best practical way to avoid a Jiang Shi encounter would be to avoid wandering the streets late at night. And with this, we come to the end for this video. Modern horror novelists, particularly those from Southeast Asia, have made Jiang Shi a must-read. Their ability to mutate, their ever-changing look, and the mystery underlying their power have continued to pique everyone's interest. If you are too a zombie fan, let us know in the comment section below how true do you think the story of Jiang Shi is. Also, remember to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you again with more of such myths next time. Until then, goodbye.